What's up, everybody? Eric here with another EWE Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 7. Before we get into that, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, let me know what you want me to review next. And yeah, guys, I will admit, I've missed Episodes 4, 5, and 6. I will come back to those, but at this point, it's kind of like, I know those videos aren't going to do as well for me, but I still want to do them. This one, at least, is for last week's episode, so I'm hoping this at least catches up. I'll try to catch up with Episode 8 next, and then I'll go back and do the other 3. Right now I'm thinking I got to do this as fast as possible, and the best thing to do is start at the most relevant. Oh my god, why am I getting things messed up in my head? Sorry, guys. But yeah, this is the one that I should be doing real quick. All right, so let's actually get started with this episode. So again, this is Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4. This is Episode 7. This streams on Paramount Plus. The title of this episode is A Few Badgie More. Now, already with that title, you can tell Badgie's back, so that's one of the characters that we're going to get in this episode. And it's released on October 12th, 2023. The director of this episode is Bob Suarez, and it's written by Edgar Momplaisir? I don't know how to pronounce the name, I'm sorry. And the cast includes Tawny Newsome, Jack Quaid, Noel Wells, Eugene Cordero, Don Lewis, Jerry O'Connell, Fred Tassador, and Gillian Vigman. The runtime for this episode is 26 minutes, so it's slightly longer than most episodes, but not by a lot. And the basic plot of this episode is that 3 computerized villains return to cause problems for the Cerritos crew. And I've already mentioned that one of those characters is Badgie. And then we'll talk about in the spoiler section who the other 2 computerized villains are. And yeah, we'll go from there. So let's start off now with my spoiler-free thoughts. The good. It was great to see the returning characters, because we haven't seen some of them in a while. And I really like Boimler in this episode. This role for me felt like this is the Boimler I'm really liking. And Rutherford does something in this episode that I was not expecting. And we'll talk about that in the spoiler section. But yeah, this kind of shows you the stakes of this episode. Rutherford does something I was not expecting at all. And from the title, like I said, Badgie's back. And it's weird because this does feel like this is probably the end of that iteration of Badgie, and we'll talk more about what I mean by that in the spoiler section. But yeah, it was really cool to see Badgie back. He's definitely unhinged just like he was last time we saw him. And this episode really worked well for me. For the story, it feels like we're setting things up for the end of the season, like what the season-long arc has been going with the villains. We do get more from that, and it was also cool because we got, for those 3 computerized villains, for at least one, like I said, Badgie, it feels like we got an ending for that character. For the other 2, I'm not sure. I think we could still see more of them. And Tendi had a moment in this episode that I'm just like, oh, you guys know why you did that. And we'll talk more about that in the spoiler section. Now, let's go on now to the bad. Now, we did get more details on the season-long villain, and I gotta say, this was one of my fears from the start of the season. I was like, all right, if you guys are gonna go all out with this, you better go all out. And it doesn't seem like they are. So that's something that I will say I'm a little bit disappointed with, but I still have to see. This was for episode 7. We don't have the conclusion yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm already starting to get this feeling of like, oh, you guys are not going to go in a direction I really would have liked you to go. You're going to go in the safe direction. And that's not necessarily what I think this show needs. We've done a lot of safe with this show. Let's try and go a little bit out there. And something about this episode where it does seem like, and this happens every season of Star Trek Lower Decks, where the Cerritos looks like it is in full danger mode, and somehow it's like, yeah, but you guys just do this like once a season and you end up surviving it. And it's kind of like, you got to be smarter where you place it, and this being placed at episode 7 when we know we have 10 episodes, like, that wasn't the right place to place it, because no one that's watching this episode really thinks this is the end, because we already know we had 3 more episodes. So that didn't work for me, but at the same time, it's a little thing to like harp about. So let's actually move on now to my score, guys. And I'm actually going to give this episode an 8 out of 10 for great. I really enjoyed what was here. There was no Moopsie, but I'm like, I don't think there's ever going to be a highlight better than Moopsie, so nothing I can do about that. But this was still a really solid episode, had a lot of great things in there. Like I said, I like this version of Boimler. He wasn't the babbling idiot that I see in other ones. Like, his confidence was there. Tendi had a fun moment where it was just like, she like let go and was having fun, but at the same time, it's like, Tendi's just having fun. She knows she's not in any real danger. So that was really cool. And I just really liked how this episode worked for me. The A story and the B story, they do eventually come together, but I like how they were separate, and one of them was super serious and the one was kind of like a little bit more fun. I think it worked in this dynamic. It doesn't always work for me, but I think today it did work really well. So yeah, I definitely recommend you guys watch this episode. It was a really good episode, and so far I've really liked this season. We're gonna go back to episodes 4, 5, and 6, but those still had stuff I did like. One thing in episode 6 that I didn't like, but we'll talk about that when I do that review. But yeah, guys, for those of you that aren't joining us for the spoiler section, thank you for watching. Please come back once you watch the spoilers to let me know what you guys think of the episode, because I'm really enjoying this season. I'm kind of sad that I know that we only get 3 more episodes, and it's just like, I really love this show, and we don't know when we're gonna get anything more because of the writer's strike. We know it got renewed, but it got renewed in March, so more than likely we won't see an episode being made for a while, and since the writer's strike did last a good while, there's a chance we're not gonna get any Lower Decks next year. I hope I'm wrong, but it kind of feels like 2024 is gonna be the year where we miss out on a lot of Star Trek because of the strikes. Alright guys, so for you, those of you that are joining, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Here's your warning for those of you that are going to keep watching. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up everybody? Now let's go into the spoiler section. And alright, so I will say first about this, I was confused the first time I was watching this because I thought for a second that Badgie was the one attacking the ships, but no, it wasn't Badgie attacking it. It was just, I didn't really understand it the first time. I had to watch it a second, then I'd be like, okay, I misunderstood that Badgie just showed up after the attack. So we'll actually start at the beginning of the episode where a Drachmani ship finds Badgie, they bring him on, he's their salvage, because, you know, they're all about salvage, and then he tells them, oh, I can give you guys secret. Like, he's good at lying, he's really good at this stuff. The captain puts it near his head, and of course, Badgie then assimilates him is the best way of saying. I don't know how else we'd say this. So Badgie controls all the Drachmani now. And yeah, that's how the episode starts. Now we go to a Bynarr ship, and now it's being attacked by the season-long villain. The reason I say season-long villains is I don't know what we call them yet. Yeah, I don't think we've mentioned the name for this villain yet. So the Bynarr ship is attacked. We find out more about them later in the episode. Now, Badgie finds this Bynarr ship, and he's like, oh, someone attacked Bynarrs, and he's just trying to salvage what's left there. Because, yeah, he's with the Drachmani, and yeah, they're trying to, like, salvage because that's their normal thing. And now the Cerritos is going to the Bynarr system in order to find the remains to try and see if they can get a clue of what's going on, because they're the closest ship there. There's a joke right there where Mariner's like, oh, they're actually trusting us, and then Jack's like, or we're just the closest ship. And she's just like, I'll take it. And it's like, when you think about a lot of Star Trek, that's usually how the story goes. Like, outside of Star Trek Voyager, because they were the only Starfleet ship, and the other shows, it's always like, oh, why are they the ones going? Oh, because there's a closest ship. And it's like, okay, that makes sense, fair enough. But 2 crew members are not going to be going with them. Tendi and Boimler are not going. Tendi's going for Peanut Hamper's, I guess, her hearing in order to be able to take an out of Daystrom's institute. They think that she's recovered. She's only been there for a couple months, but it looks like she's going to be get out. And Boimler's going because of Agamis, because he says he has info regarding what's going on with the Bynarr attack. So they're both going to Daystrom. They're not going to be going with the Cerritos, so they're going to be our B story for this episode. So now we get back to now Daystrom's institute, and we see Peanut Hamper and Agamis gardening. And Agamis is just trying to act all arts. It's pretty funny. He's like, oh, yes, we're going to get out of here. We're going to take over Plumeria, I think is the planet they were talking about. Peanut Hamper is going with it. And they're just being very arch. It's really funny because you're just like, oh, my God, these he can't even move. She's just gardening. But yet they're scheming up a plan. It was really cool. And then Agamis is like, hey, I learned this new thing. And he can turn blue. And somehow because he's blue, somehow that means he's good. I was just like, oh, my God, the logic of the show. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I could see people falling for that. So I really enjoyed that. So now we're going back to Cerritos. They eventually reach where the Bynarr ship was attacked. The Drachmani ship comes out, and the first thing you see is Badgie. The Drachmani show up. The captain's just like, oh, help us from the demon. And it turns out to be Badgie. And then we get an oh shit from Rutherford. And to me, this oh shit was already like, oh crap, he knows things are serious. So I really like seeing that from Rutherford. And then from here, we actually go back to Daystrom. And now we see Agamis talking to Boimler. And Boimler does not trust him. You can see from the body language that Boimler's just like, oh man, I really got to do this stuff. And it's just funny seeing them together. So now we get back to Badgie. And Badgie's now attacking the Cerritos. And from his knowledge that he has thanks to Rutherford, he's able to check all the codes for the shields. And he is just attacking the crap out of the Cerritos. Cerritos looks like it's not going to win this fight. So what Rutherford ends up doing is he leaves the Cerritos in a suit. The captain did not like this at all, but in his mind he's thinking, oh, I can just sacrifice myself and Badgie will just take that and he'll leave my people alone. However, Mariner goes with them, and she thinks he has like a plan to stop Badgie. He's like, no, I was just gonna like let him kill me. And it was just like, oh crap. But he actually then hugs Badgie, hoping that maybe this can help him out. So from here, we actually now go back to Agamis, and he ends up betraying Tendi and Boimler because they're going off to wherever his scout ships or whatever, his drone said that they found where the Bynarch ship was attacked. So at first we think that his information is not correct, but no, it is correct. We'll find out more about that later. But then we go with they end up going somewhere else. So before we get there, let's go now back to Badgie. Now, because of Rutherford hugging him, now he's having feelings, and the evil side of him is just like, I don't want to deal with this evilness. I'm going to take the good out of me that still cares about my father and take him out. And Good G is born. So he's able to separate himself, and the good part of him he throws in the Good G, and then Badgie's still that evil side. So it's really cool. We see this new thing called Good G, and now they have to run away because, you know, Badgie's going to try and hurt them. So now let's go back to Boimler, and they're in Ecuador, and they're just on a beach. You can tell Tendi is having the time of her life. She's just playing with sand. Now, this is where I was talking about the dig on there from Tendi. This seems like a complete dig at Star Wars about Anakin talking crap about sand. Maybe I'm just making it up or projecting, but just seems like, oh yeah, people have fun with sand while Anakin hates it. And it was just really fun seeing her play with sand. Even when they were about to leave, she was going to take some sand with her. So this was really fun to see for me. And we actually find out during this scene that Tendi and Boimler can get out of this. They're not worried at all about Agamis. However, they're just trying to still work with him to try and see if he can give them some info. They know if they betray him at this point, he's just going to not tell them what the information they want, and they're still trying to do that. He's not dangerous at this point. He's just like, he seems sad because Peanut Hamper's not going with them. All right, so now we go back to Badgie, and he still just wants to make Rutherford feel pain. So what he ends up doing is he opens up gas on the Cerritos, and he's just trying to hurt Rutherford by hurting his friends and his crew. And this time, they tell him, where's the logic in what you're doing? And of course, he's gonna split up again, and we got now Logic-y. And I'm just having fun with them separating it. And then they run away again, because it's just like, oh, what are we going to do? He's still trying to attack the Cerritos. I do think he stops with the gas, but I can't remember exactly. But then we go now to Agamis. He's on Plymera. He's taken over the planet. And there's this funny line here where Boimler says, oh, yeah, there's no way Starfleet can, like, change all of this in an hour. So he's basically just letting the audience know, like, this isn't a problem. Yeah, he's taken over the planet, but this can all be reversed in like an hour. It's not really that big a deal. He's just still trying to get that knowledge from Agamis. So now let's go back to Badgie for a second. And eventually, oh, actually, before this, they actually do find out. Actually, have they found out where Peanut Hamper is? No, yeah, they know where to find Peanut Hamper, and they're actually going to go track her down because Agamis is being like a sad boy. He doesn't know what he's doing. So let's now go on to back to Badgie. And Badgie, at this point, he banes Logic-y. He breaks his back and kills him. I'm just like, oh my god, he baned him. He baned him. I almost cursed right there. I was just like, this is awesome. I loved it. I was having so much fun with Badgie. Like, he baned him. Alright, so he's losing his mind. He's going crazy. He wants to like join everything. He wants to take over all of Starfleet, take everything down, make Rutherford feel like crap, saying like, yes, thanks to you, all of Starfleet is going down. And I actually like where this goes, so I'll talk about it in a second. But first, let's go back to Agamis. They actually find Peanut Hamper, and there's this funny scene where she's like, oh, you guys found me, and like all that. She's with her dad, and she's actually settled down, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And you find out that Agamis at the same time, I'm not sure if it's love, I don't know what it is, but it's like, he just wants to be with Peanut Hamper. And I think Peanut Hamper was just trying to act evil and arch to like hang out with him. And it kind of turns out like neither one of them really wants to be evil. They honestly just want to be around each other and be friends. At least the friends part. I don't know how robots, if there's romantic feelings or whatever between them. Oh wait, Peanut Hamper did have sex with the bird. I forgot about that. Okay, but either way, we go back to Peanut Hamper. I mean, not Peanut Hamper. We go back to now all that's resolved. Agamas seems like he's a good guy. Let's go back to Badgie. Badgie wins. He gets what he wants. He joins everything. We even see Deep Space Nine. We see everything. He takes over everything, and he wins. But then you kind of find out that he's actually ascended. He was like, I have infinite knowledge, infinite time, infinite power. And he doesn't see the point to do any of this anymore. Like, his anger has finally gone away because he's ascended to a higher plane of existence. And I thought this was really cool because it's like, oh, this character, all he wanted was revenge, but in the end, none of that matters. And I was like, this is a really good story. I really like what they did here with him. And then he just goes away. He's gone. He's going to say like, oh, I'm going to go start a parallel universe, something like that, and be like a god or something like that. It was really cool. I really enjoyed what they did with him. So let's actually now go back to Agamas. And it actually turns out that Agamas, he wasn't lying. He actually did see what happened with the Bynarr. He said, oh yes, I saw the Bynarr theft. And this is where we find out that the ships weren't being destroyed, they were being stolen to make it look like they were being, it was thieves. Now, my worry here is that we're going to get another menagerie. There's nothing wrong with getting a menagerie again. However, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the menagerie. The problem is a menagerie again. That's where I have the problem. We already got a menagerie early in the season. I don't need a second one. Now, this is where I'm saying that this story could end up sucking in the end if it does turn out that episode 8 it's a menagerie or something like that. I'm just like, this isn't what I wanted. Like, you guys are making it seem like it's a huge threat. If that's what it ends up being and there's not really any like loss of life, I don't think this is as big a deal as they're trying to make it, and it might ruin the season for me a little bit as a whole. Not individual episodes, but as a whole, it's like that might suck. But it is what it is. So let's actually go on to the ending part of this episode, and we actually see, this is something I skipped at the beginning. Rutherford was messing around with a grappler on a shuttle, and in the end of the episode, we actually see that he is still trying to get it to work, but he's using Good-G to help him, and everyone else is like, I'm out, except for Boimler, because he's already been shot by the grappler. And he's like, but Good-G's good! It's like, oh no, Tendi and Mariner are like, we're out, we're not dealing with this stuff. And I thought that was really fun. So guys, I really enjoyed this episode. Like I said, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Because I'm liking this season. However, I'm starting to get a little bit worried about the finale of where we're going with this. This kind of does feel like the next episode might be where we get the finale to the season-long thing, but I'm not sure. It just feels like that's what they're setting up for, so we'll see next week. Actually, no, technically tomorrow for me, because the episode comes out tomorrow. I'm recording this on Wednesday. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this episode. Talk to you later. Bye.